Good morning, and welcome to the Wake.Show. How's everybody doing? My name is Chris Fisher. On the show today, we'll run down some of the headlines, the stuff you should know. Also, I'm very excited. Well, I had something to share with you, but I couldn't get my AirDrop to work this morning, so I might have to do it live. And that is, yesterday it was my wife and I, my anniversary, our first anniversary. So one of the things I did was... stupid. Oh, wait, damn it. I haven't even. Sorry. I didn't even go live over here. Nobody's even watching yet. At least I'm not on Facebook. There we go. Oh, hi. And welcome to the Wake.Show. I'm Chris Fisher. Now we can get this show on the road. Let's do this too. All right. I got Joey on the couch. Where'd little Roxy Bear go? Hi, Roxy. Hi, little. What are you doing? I brought the little ones, the littles, as we call them. All right, did I get... Oh, what? Hey, there you are, JoJo. Good boy. You stay right there all episode. Come here, Rox. Come here, little one. Come here. Let's say hi to everybody. And she's... Come here. Come here, little. How are you doing? I know, we're getting started here in just a couple... Come here, bud. Come here. Come here, Roxy. I know, sweetheart. Little puppy stretches. Little puppy stretches. Come here. Come here. She doesn't like all. She's has to walk through all these wires. Well, come here, little. Come here, honey. Why don't you like this place? Why don't you like this place, huh? My little puppy stretcher. There we go. There we go, honey. Okay. So this is Roxy McPoopenstein. And she's my little one that has all the anxiety issues. And she's not a big fan of car rides and whatnot. But bring him here to work. Hi, JoJo. How you doing, Bubby? Let's get back to Joseph there. Get you over here in the couch. There you go. You can go back to your corner, Roxy. You can go back to your corner. I'm trying to get them, acclimated so I can bring. I want to bring them, bring them to work. I think I told you guys this before. That well, there's a lot of reasons why I want to bring them in every single day. But we'll get to some of the we'll get to stuff you should know here and chat a little bit about the news of the day. Let's say good morning to Elliot, best Super Bowl of my lifetime. Elliot, I don't know if it was the best one, because as soon as I see that, yes, I did enjoy the game, by the way. I enjoyed it immensely. It was a great game. But as soon as I saw your comment, best Super Bowl of my lifetime, the first thing that popped in my head was that Giants, I don't remember were they playing New England at the time? That great catch off. I can't even remember the guy's name now off the head. The Eli Manning. That might have been the best Super Bowl. At least that's what popped in my head. But last night, I thought for sure I'd be going to bed by the fourth quarter. And hi, honey, Jonny. Good morning, Jonny. What'd you think of the game? Did you watch the game? Or did you have some young Republicans things you had to do last night? But it was really, all right, let's go ahead and all right, screw it. Let's just go ahead and get into it then. Boom, boom, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It was an amazing game. So let's start right at the top then. Talking about what, leading up to the game, all right? So leading up to the game, first thing that pops into my head is Carrie Underwood. Sorry. Whoop. Wait. What camera angle should be over there? How about? All right. I guess we'll do this one. All right. So the first thing that pops into my head is Carrie Underwood's theme song or whatever it was she did at the beginning. Absolutely rocked it. And what a voice! Holy crap! What a powerful voice. But on that note, I know that Pink has a really good voice. I just didn't know she had a really good voice, like a national anthem style voice. And so, and to find out that she had the flu, which is killing people, and I don't watch football and still watch the entire game. Yeah, I could see that. It went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You can't blame Tom Brady, really. He had one of the biggest games of his career. The offense was on fire. It was just there was very little defense out there. It just kept going back and forth. I want to say, didn't at the end of the game, there was ended up only being one punt after it was all said and done. I think there was one punt, and that was the Eagles early on. But yeah, I was even kind of, my eyes were doing this just because it was a long weekend. It's getting late. I'm old. And also yesterday was my wife and I's first anniversary, so we were doing things all day long. But man, I could, the game itself kept opening my eyes. I'm going, and then something happened. I'm jumping right back up. And then by the time the fourth quarter came around and late in the fourth quarter, I was in. I was all in. He's stinking. This one of the things. All right, so we'll wait. I was getting ready to jump right into the Philly fans and how they're destroying their city. But we'll come back to that, all right? Let's go ahead and talk about Pink having the flu a little bit there. Now, that's all you need to know about that. You're just incredible. Pink had the flu. She gets up there and knocks it out of the park. Now, the Timberlake versus Prince thing. What did you guys think about that as far as that? Because, man, we can sit here and talk about the X's and O's in the games, but you know damn well I'd be faking my way through it. I'd be stealing other people's opinions from the internet, trying to make it look like I knew exactly what you guys are talking about. Not that I am not a fan. It's just that somewhere along the ways, about 20 years ago, along the way, I went from being the fanatical, could tell you the X's and O's from my favorite baseball to, baseball and football, to realizing that I had way too much control over my emotions than I had. So I'm a recovering sports fanatic, I should say. I'm a recovering sports fanatic. And speaking of which, even though it ended up being a great game, the ratings I saw were some of the worst it has been in a long time. And I want to say it was down like 7% from last year or something like that. All right, so let's get to because I thought that Justin Timberlake did a great job. I thought it was a really good halftime show. It wasn't, there wasn't controversy or anything like that, but I think, he didn't want too much controversy. And I thought the Prince thing was really cool. But the first couple of articles I clicked on this morning thought the exact opposite. Justin Timberlake's anti-spectacular Super Bowl is how this story begins here. The pop star's underachievement came off all the weaker with a tribute to the perfectionist Prince. So I don't know if this is like a huge Prince fan and feels like nobody should be trying to, pay homage. But Justin Timberlake is among, so this is how it's written. Coming from The Atlantic, Justin Timberlake is among the very few performers to ever do multiple Super Bowls, and in a way, now so is Prince. But for a sense of how Prince, if alive today, would have approached the task of following up his 2007 performance, a strong pick for the best halftime show in history, you can read this 2016 account from his production manager, Patrick Wallen. It features the terrifying anecdote of Wallen trying to tell his boss that some fabulous idea was undoable, and then, after a less than warm replay from the purple one, finding a way to do it anyway. Quote, he always demanded the best. He never settled. So this person's opinion, and this isn't the only one that I came across too, felt like this was a dud. Like Justin Timberlake didn't do anything. He went up there, kind of did a little mash of songs, and the tribute fell short, what he tried to pull off for Prince, and it was underwhelming. I think the exact opposite. And maybe because the game was so great up until then that I was just in a good mood and I wanted to, for the Super Bowl halftime show to be spectacular. I don't know if it's better than what Prince did or what Katy Perry did. I don't need to compare that. It was, I feel like, a very solid halftime show. Let me go to some of the comments here too. That was the dullest halftime show ever. I'm only speaking in absolutes today. Elliot, you're like one of those wingers today. Everything was either the best or the worst. All right. So back to this. Can anyone imagine he never settled being said about Timberlake after his set on Sunday? It was a monument to underachievement. Quite literally, the most viewed concert of the year, the Super Bowl show can easily mint iconic moments, whether joyfully tacky or politically potent, as seen in Katy Perry's Dazed Shark, Beyonce's X Formation, Prince's Phallic Silhouette, and yes, Janet Jackson's Starburst Boob, which is a hilarious way to describe that moment. Even the less controversial parts of the better halftimes used blockbuster set design and choreography to awaken America from its nachos coma. But Timberlake, unconspicuously squandered the platform. The highlights, as they were, included that one song from Trolls, The Angering of Prince Nation. Was that really an angering of Prince Nation? How is that not cool? How is that like, oh, wow, Justin didn't have to do that, but he did. That's awesome. Good for him. Good for us. Now, come to find out, I guess he originally wanted to do a hologram, but the Prince estate, I guess there's some family members that are controlling that and said, nah, I don't like that. But I guess we're okay with whatever that was. And if you missed it, it was Prince projected up onto this huge, it looks like about an 80-foot, drop. And while Timberlake is playing, one of his songs, and actually singing along with him as well. I don't know. I just thought it was really good. So back to this. Starting under the stadium, stands on a small stage with a small crowd, Timberlake telegraphed that his show would be more intimate, a looser affair than usual. Fair enough, but the effect was that right from the beginning. The focus was not on him, but on all the audience members holding their phones up. Those phones would bafflingly turn out to introduce the show's one big motif. You couldn't even hum along. The audio presented a garbled version of Filthy. It did seem like there was some technical issue there in the beginning, like you couldn't hear him sing, but whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too easy to please. But I don't know. I'm spending too much time on that. I just think I liked it. Screw the critics. All right, what's up next on Stuff You Should Know Today? All right, well, first, before we get to the MLK, because I'm curious on your thoughts on that. If you saw the commercial of the Martin Luther King sermon speech that Dodge Ram used to pimp one of their vehicles. It was a speech about being great and this and this and this. And so it did come off as weird to me, a little, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm offended and, I'm going to be writing letters. It didn't match. It didn't fit. But let's talk about this kid right here if you guys were watching. During Justin Timberlake's halftime show, a 13-year-old from Massachusetts stole the show during Justin Timberlake's halftime performance at Super Bowl 52 Sunday night when he nabbed a quick selfie with the superstar mid-performance. I kind of just jumped in there. It was crazy, Ryan 13, who wished to be identified only by his first name. I'm not going to get that opportunity again. I just kind of went for it. How is it that he has the awareness at 13 years old to go, please just use my first name? I'm trying to protect my identity. He admits he started out by experiencing some technical difficulty, saying, at first I tried to get a selfie with him and my phone died. And then it turned back on. Jeez. The New England Patriots fan added that Timberlake didn't really say anything during their encounter, but I got a picture with him. That was cool. I was speechless. You saw the kid fumbling around with his phone. I don't know if you saw the memes later, and I'm not a very good, television show host, or else I would have that meme pulled up for you. Where it looks like they alter it to make it look like he's Googling who is Justin Timberlake. So anyway, I thought that was a cool, whatever. It was a fun moment interacting with the fans there. That kid stood out. And we'll come back to that. But what did you think? Let's see, this is the Super Bowl. Oh, that's the anti-terrorism thing. We'll come back to that. So here we go. The this Ram truck ad sparked some controversy. I could see, I don't know if it's controversial. It just seemed weird to me. Ram trucks use a sermon by Martin Luther King Jr. in a Super Bowl commercial. One of the reasons why I wanted to come to this this morning is because I'm very curious in what the estate, the people that control MLK's name, what they had to say, and it's in here. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. That was the worst commercial I've ever seen in my life. Yes. Okay, I don't know if it was the worst, but but I love that you're talking in absolutes today. Was it an epiphany over the weekend, Elliot? Did the Super Bowl make you realize that there is no nuance to the world? It's all black and white. Ram trucks used the sermon. The commercial featured King's speech from 50 years ago at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta against several scenes. There were kids playing football, fishermen, members of the military, a teacher, and students in a classroom, and a firefighter lifting a child over his shoulder. But I guess, when I see stuff like that, I'm waiting to see a point. I'm waiting to see a cause. I don't know, something that's not trying to hawk a GD truck. They use all these amazing images, get the emotions going. A great sermon by MLK and the backdrop of all these, the fishermen and the firemen and the members of the military, a teacher, students in a classroom. Hey, go buy a truck. We want you to put that together in your head, okay? That all those things we just showed that are supposed to inspire you as humans, we'd like you to focus that and go get yourself a Dodge Ram truck. Part of the what can be heard, quote, but recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's the new definition of greatness. MLK can be heard saying. By giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. MLK's sermon, The Drum Major Instinct, concludes with the message that to serve, you only need a heart full of grace, soul generated by love. And then the Ram slogan, Built to Serve, appears on the screen. Some viewers felt it was distasteful to use the civil rights leader speech to advertise trucks, following the backlash. And this is the interesting part of the story, because they can't just use that stuff without going to a king's estate. And, I mean, I do have an opinion, of course. It is very, well, we'll get to it here in a moment. So they go to the king estate, said in a statement that it had reviewed the ad before it aired to make sure it met its standards and found that the overall message of the ad embodied Dr. King's philosophy that true greatness is achieved by serving others. Is that the message they were trying to get out there? Or were they trying to is it evoke or invoke powerful emotions that then get attached to their product? Just simple marketing. So my thought on this. So as soon as this is what popped in my head when I read this. Following the backlash, the King Estate said in a statement that it had reviewed the ad before it aired to make sure it met its standards and they had enough money. I'm obviously very cynical when it comes to. Thus, we decided to be a part of Rams Built to Serve Super Bowl program. Well, good for you. I'm sure that check is going to be nice. All right, let's get back to some of the comments this morning before we move on with stuff you should know. Sarah, good morning. I had the misfortune of being at Mall of America hustling cookies Saturday before the Super Bowl. Pats fans were really nice to my girls. Eagle fans were kind of jerks. Well, one group came through screaming as soon as they got next to the kids, trying to make them jump. I'm so glad it's over and everyone's leaving my frozen tundra. Oh, you're going to miss everybody there in Minneapolis. And what the hell are you thinking? Why'd you try to go to the Mall of America the weekend of the Super Bowl? You knew everybody in town was going to be there. That was like, was it last weekend or the weekend before when we had, last weekend, or the weekend before, when we had the NHL All-Star game in town and Gasparilla the same weekend? My ass was not in Tampa, except to drop off some people at the airport or whatever it was I was doing and getting the hell out of Dodge as fast as I could. Ryan, Budweiser used political advertising correctly. Ram, not so much. That is an interesting take, because you're right. Budweiser did something similar. Basically, I mean, for those of you guys that missed that commercial, it was, a montage of them. Okay, so a guy in the beginning, I guess, is supposed to be eating dinner with his wife or something like that. And then he gets a call and he's got to go into work. And it's that moment come like, hey, you're supposed to be here with the family. He's like, I got to go do this. And he's driving into the Budweiser plant. I think this is the way I might be a little wrong on this. So he's driving into the Budweiser plant, and what you see is that he's going in there to switch everything around so that they aren't producing beer. They're not canning beer, they're canning water. And this goes back to, when they did that back during the hurricanes. And it was powerful. I thought it was great. And it's funny because when I saw that, I didn't go, oh, there you go, Budweiser, you're trying to tweak our emotions and have this powerful emotion be associated with your product, which is exactly what it did. I went in my head. And so this goes to Ryan's point. I think, when he said Budweiser did the same thing, but they did it right. Where Ram, I feel like they missed the mark on it, is we are living in a time, and corporations know this, where, say, if we go back to the 80s and you were talking to the teenagers then and they were driven and they were ready to come out and join Wall Street and go take over the world and this and this and this, or this next generation of people coming up are like, that's not important. Quality of life is important. Going to work my ass off. I'll work, 60 hours a week if you need me, 80 hours a week, but I got to feel like it's more than just money that is coming out of it. I'm making a positive impact on my community, so on and so forth. So, that's been percolating, that's been resonating over the past few years, and I think corporations are catching on and realizing that part of their brand now needs to be how showing the consumers how they are positively impacting their community. They're not just going into, communities and figuring out like mosquitoes and figuring out a way to drain all the blood out of the community and head off into, to their next venture. So that is something Budweiser has done in the past before. I'm not sure if other, beers have done that, but I thought they nailed it. They did a great job with it. All right, Sarah, I'm with you on that truck commercial. Yeah, it just came off weird, a.k.a. the check cleared. Yep. What MLK would have said about the Dodge commercial. I'm going to click on that one, Johnny. Hold on, I'll come back to it. Wait, if I were to click on that from here, would I turn off my broadcast, or should I go back over this way? I don't want to click on something and have it. All right, hold on, let me do this then. I'm going to open up a different tab altogether, so hopefully it doesn't kick me off. All right, this is facebook.com/Jack Tinker. In case you were wondering what MLK actually thought about car commercials, I don't think I can play it from this source. I'll have to come back to my other computer for that one. But thank you, Johnny. I'm too scared of making that move right now. I'm afraid that I'll shut down the entire broadcast. They're just hustling cars. They give no Fs about that noise. Selling them cookies, fish. Ugh. Oh, that's why. So the reason that our friend Sarah was at the Mall of America, she was hustling herself. She was taking advantage of everybody that was in town trying to get some Girl Scout cookies sold. Good for you, Sarah. You stinking kids. So, here's the thing. I mean, yeah, we know that businesses are in the business of doing business, making money. Same with corporations. I do get caught sometimes in the trap, I think, of thinking that corporate America, corporations, all of them, especially the bigger you get, the more psychopathic they get, And I know we can definitely find those examples out there, but is that true across the board? Likely not. And correct me if you think I'm wrong on this one. This is far. I correct me if you think I'm wrong on this one, but I think it might be even, because it's like, wait a second, there's nothing wrong with going after the powerful, whether it's corporate America, other institutions, the government, Wall Street, religion, anybody or any organizations and institutions have that much power, that much control, you can find all of those horrible things that you're looking for, right? But I'm trying not to be so cynical when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I don't think I'm being naive, because I have met, yes, I've had enough experiences in my life where you really question whether or not it is this forced psychopathy, this forced severing of empathy with other human beings in your community, to make the decisions that only concern the bottom line and investors. Yes, I do realize there's a huge downside to that. But I also believe that in these companies, A lot of these VPs and CEOs and president, even though they do have to, sometimes it seems like to us normal folk, put on the psychopath's hat and destroy life after life after life, family after family after family, in order to, trim the fat and make sure that the company's streamlined and blah, blah, blah. I also do believe that there are just as many, if not 100 times more, people who are good people who are trying to balance out, okay, how do I keep, hitting my $1 million bonus every single year, my $10 million bonus every single year, keep my queen-ass wife off my ass because she wants she's pissed that I'm not a billionaire yet, and at the same time, do good by the people that are working under me, for the company, the people that are in the community. I do think there are plenty of those people out there. Or maybe Jonny Torres has just had too much of an effect on me. my capitalist friend Jonny Torres. No, you know what? It's not that. It's not been his words that have been convincing me either. It's been his actions, what he does. And he is somebody who is definitely a capitalist and also somebody who is serving his community and looking out for the people around him. So that is very promising. All right, so my wife chiming in saying that the best commercial was the Eli Manning Dirty Dancing one. That was a really good one. I didn't get them at first. Like they were interjecting these commercials, like sparingly. I didn't even know what they were in the beginning, and it wasn't until they brought it all together there towards the end that, man, that was one of the best commercials of the. I will take my hat. I'm gonna give a little love to. Thank you, Jonny. I'm going to give a little love to Tide. And what do you think about that? Because I feel like that was a hit or miss one. Even to me in the beginning, I was like, this could come off like they're just stealing everybody else's idea, and it could be kind of cheesy and da-da-da-da-da. The Alexa commercial that turned into a Tide commercial, that one. So I think Tide did a good job with the money they must have spent. Because they popped up at least 5 times. I want to say 4 or 5 times during the Super Bowl. Ram also told me what to do. Bud told me what they did. Ram told me what to do. So you felt like the Ram ad was a little preachy, but Bud just shared what they did, and that is during those times of crisis, they switched things over, and instead of canning beer, they were canning water. Budweiser's always played to people's emotions, even with the Clydesdales. Yeah, I know. I get it. I know that they play to our emotions, but there's this balancing act. You have to walk this line of how is it that you go plucking those strings, and you start pulling out an MLK speech and put it on the back because they set it up like you're getting ready to see this America is great. America is one. America is strong. Da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like, go buy a Ram truck. Ram truck we aim to serve for $50,000. We will serve you for a cool $40K. Tide's best clip was the Terry Crews one. I think I missed a Terry Crews one, unless you are confusing Terry Crews with the guy that was on the back of the horse, because that's not Terry Crews. But that was a funny one. When they did the spoof off of the, what is that? The Old Spice commercial. And they had 2 guys on a horse. So anyway, there was some good commercials. I would say overall, and I don't know if it's just because we've been focusing on commercials now for, 20 years or more, would you say? Because the commercials were before, everybody was talking about how the commercials were a big part of the Super Bowl. They were slowly becoming a big part of the Super Bowl, and then it became like this huge thing. And I can't remember exactly when that kind of happened, 25 years ago. But I kind of feel like overall, there's not, I don't think there's people at work today going, oh my God, did you see that one commercial? I think people like us are talking because we're so used to talking about the Super Bowl or the Super Bowl commercials afterwards. I think that we are kind of trained just to have the conversation. But, you wake up this morning and you see something like, oh my God, did you, because back in the day, those Budweiser commercials and the million others that I can't think of right now that had you going, holy crap, that was something else. Back to, that was the worst commercial I've ever seen in my life. Sarah, Oh, no. I've scrolled up to Tynes Best Clip. All right, so let's get back to some of the other stuff that I pulled off today. I think enough with the commercials for now. Before we do that, where's Joe? Let me see where my dog. Oh, there he is. There's little Joseph. I want to turn the other camera. I'm going to try. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go you see that camera in that shot? You see where it's pointed in that corner? Because that's where he was the entire time that I was putting together the show. As soon as I start, he moves over there. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go spin that camera over and see if, I can just get him to stay there. But I had this theory that my Yorkies, like most people dogs, are really angels. And they don't like to be caught on camera. Because I swear to something that every single time you go to get that shot, they're just being cuter than they've ever been. They know, and it stops very quickly. Yesterday, my wife missed two really cool, those moments where, so to put out your phone and be in the moment kind of a thing. So it was that. It was either put down your phone and be in the moment or really try to capture this cute moment. Cute moment number one was we were visiting. It was my little dog over here, Joey. We were out in downtown St. Pete, and there was this huge Great Dane, right? Beautiful dog. And the little ones here can sometimes get kind of spooked when it comes to the big animals. But Joey went right up to him, and this giant dog is, looking down at him, sniffing Joey's, like this, trying to sniff each other's nose. And it was just one of those. I understand why my wife was going for her camera. I was like, holy crap. So she's fumbling around as I'm just sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is the most adorable thing ever. She gets out her phone. Sure enough, boom. Nope, doesn't get it. Then we're leaving a couple minutes later, and we get in the car, and I think this is the coolest thing. There's a little bird that lands on the driver's side mirror, which is right next to she's the one that was driving. So, and it was just a little finch, I think is all it was. But it was, it was right there. It was kind of cute. And she was backing up, and it wasn't flying away. So I go, honey, look, and she turns again. Instead of staying in the moment, you had two choices there. Either just sit there and go, wow, that is really cool, and stay there and see how long you can just sit and appreciate the bird on the mirror. It might be, I turned into a hippie over the weekend. What the hell's wrong with me? Or you go for your phone. She goes for her phone. Boom, turns back around, the bird's gone. And yeah, great story, Fish. Oh, by the way, I also ran into, for those of you that have been following me around for quite some time, ran into Seth and Jessica. Whoops. Let's see. Seth and Phoebe, and Seth was my old show partner and executive producer for many years, and he has started his own company called St. Pete Legend, and they were out selling their St. Pete Legend T-shirts. So we stopped by to support them. It was good to see them. And Phoebe, which some of you know from the radio as well, from 97X, then at 101.5 for a while, and then Magic 94.9 for a little bit. She's off. She left radio. And no, she's not doing something like this. She's like, I can't remember which one, the Mini Donut Factory or something like that she's working for now or something. But anyway, I want to get her. I'd love to get both of them in here. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be cool to, me and Seth back, chatting it up a little bit, and bring Phoebe in there. Because, one of the things that we've been doing with the show, as I think you guys have noticed, the people we're trying to bring in here, people that are having a positive impact in their community, trying to, not just trying, but being a positive force in their world. And Seth and Phoebe are definitely those two people. And so I'd love to have them on the show sometime soon. And of course, I would love to have Danielle in here too. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Danielle was also a producer and member of the show that I had at 97X for many years, and a tremendous talent. She does mornings now at Magic 94.9. So we'll see. We'll see about trying to get all of them in here eventually. Let's get back to some of the stories that I pulled up. Let's go to, okay. All right, let me make sure that I'm done with, do you guys want to, all right, one more, hold on. One more thing two more things about the Super Bowl before we move on. One of them being, I was very interested to see if anybody would be kneeling before the game. Nobody was, none of the players, coaches, nothing like that. Everybody stood. And yeah, I remember Lauren said something about wondering whether or not any of the Patriots. I'm like, nah, Belichick, he runs a tight ship. And then they cut right to the Patriots, and they were all locked. Like they were, every person had their hand locked into the jersey or the pads of the person next to them. So no kneeling before the game, and then after the game, can somebody please help me explain? Help me understand the mentality of burning down your city after a win like this. I don't understand. I wouldn't get it if you burned down your city if you lost. I understand burning down your city if I don't know. You're so here's how I get to understand. By the way, this was a huge thing. If you guys are still up throughout the overnight, one of the biggest trending, if not the biggest trending hashtag on Twitter overnight was Philly police scanners, I think it was. Philly police scanners, so if you want to look it up. And so it was people were listening to their scanners and then tweeting the stuff that was coming out of it. Like somebody stole a fire truck last night. Somebody else broke into a zoo and stole an ostrich. Now, I'm sure some of the ones that I read were, made up, but they were pretty funny. But that being said, there was still a lot of destruction. I don't know if you guys saw the shot of the gates there at City Hall, and they were climbing up over the gates of City Hall, and they were passing up a keg and working it up over the gate to get it up over there to throw a party at City Hall, I guess, or something like that. But does it make any sense to anybody? You know me, by the way, you know me, I love to think about humanity and the broad general psyche of mankind and how it is that, we can explain the stuff that we're doing here by looking at our own past and putting it all together and understanding us. But I don't get it. Your team wins, and then this is a signal to just start burning shit, breaking shit, stealing shit, and I don't know. So I did not come in with any answers to that situation today. Okay, enough on the Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and get to flicking cops off. All right, let's do that. Flicking cops off. I said an idea. No, that's not going to work. The epiphany you thought I just had in front of you was a way, because now I'm typing something into the what do they call this, message whatever thing. Flicking cops off, protected speech or provocation. I don't even think I can spell provocation. Do. Thank you, spell check. The epiphany I thought I just had was I could have, because one of the things I need to do, but it's really difficult to do is as soon as I start the show, I should be on my social media and sharing the Wake.Show with Fisher the Man 123, which has a lot of followers, with my personal page and stuff like that. So in Twitter and all that. But once you start, I mean that would mean we start the show, and then for 5 minutes you see me going. So it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe right before I go on, I'll just text my wife and have her do it. And then I remembered she has a job, and she wouldn't be able to do it either. So this goes back to Fish. Why don't you get some interns in here? You're talking about interns a few weeks ago. Why? Because that means I have to make a phone call, and for whatever reason, my anxiety shuts me down, and then it's an endless cycle of me going, well, it's very simple just to make a phone call. You can do it. You can do it. All right, no, don't worry. I got it. I can do it. And then all of a sudden you go to do it, and the anxiety crushes you, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do anything. I can't. How did I even make it this far? All right. Figure it out eventually, or it'll be figured out for me. The universe will figure it out for me. Punish me. The Super Bowl anti-terrorism documents left in a plane. Oh, let me just pull this up real quickly, because right here is actually the Puppy Bowl. And yesterday I was telling you guys how it was my anniversary, my first wedding anniversary yesterday. So my wife and I went around the corner to have a couple of drinks on the water. Yeah, I know it wasn't the most beautiful day. We had a great shot of the Skyway. And then they had on the Puppy Bowl. And it was fantastic. It was very entertaining. So let's get to this cop thing that I'm bringing up here. Right, if we so I forgot to go change. Let me see if I can do this. All right, let's do that. Be very, very quiet. Oh, look, you start whispering in their ears, but they know you're talking about them. I'm just going to try to see if I can move the camera without. I already know what's going to happen. I don't even know why I'm trying this. I don't even know why I'm trying this. See, of course. Come on. Come back up here and be cute. Come on. Come back up here and be cute. You can do it. All right, we'll see if he gets back into place or not. I knew that was a waste of time. All right, so done with that. ACLU lawsuit. Okay. ISP ticket for rude gesture violates rights. Man flips off a state trooper and gets cited for provocation. You see that? That little. See what my little doggy did? Let me get back to this shot. Oh wait. He goes back to the original place where I set up the camera before the show. See him? That's exactly where the camera was. I'm telling you, man, they're magic. These dogs, I don't know what it is. They're little angels. They're little puppy angels. They don't like to be videotaped. They don't like to be photographed. It steals part of their little angel soul, I think. All right, so back to this. A Terre Haute man, Terre Haute, ticketed after making a rude gesture at an Indiana State Police trooper has filed a federal lawsuit claiming his constitutionality or his constitutional protected rights to free speech and freedom of unreasonable search and seizure were violated. And we're going to get to the details here so we can we can judge fairly or not fairly. Oh, wait a second. Yeah. Woohoo. He's back. Look at that. Look at that adorableness. Oh, by the way, that's Joey, for those of you that don't know. Mark May is seeking unspecified damages against Indiana State Police Master Trooper Matt Ames, according to the complaint. All right, according to the complaint filed Thursday. In the lawsuit, May admits to the incident on August 21st, 2017, when he made a gesture commonly known as giving the finger to Ames as May drove past Ames, who had stopped another motorist along US 41. May claims just prior to the incident, he was cut off in traffic by Ames, who was pursuing another motorist. Okay, so this dipshit, I don't know how. I'm torn on this, by the way. Not really. This dipshit is pissed because a cop cuts him off trying to get at another motorist. So he wants to show him how angry he is when he catches him. The man claims, after Ames saw May make the gesture, the lawsuit claims Ames pursued May, pulled him over, and ticketed him for provocation. Indiana Criminal Code states a person who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally engages in conduct that is likely to provoke a reasonable person to commit battery commits provocation, a Class C infraction, which carries a penalty of up to $500. All right, so let's break this bad boy down. This is a state-to-state thing. So when he drove by the cop and gave him the old middle finger, by the way, do you do it this way or this way? Which you do it the fancy way or the old-fashioned way? Does that get you kicked off the internet? Does the bird get you just flicking someone off? So, a person who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally engages in conduct that is likely to provoke a reasonable person to commit battery, commits provocation, a Class C infraction. Well, to me, it is provocation. You're not doing this like, hey, okay, the difference. Another gesture, right? So if he goes by the cop and does this, thumbs down, then no, thumbs down. I'm just showing my dislike, thumbs down. But you do that, and that's an FU. That's a nonverbal FU, and it is you are shooting your disdain, your anger, your venom at somebody else, and to do that to so. I think this is provocation. I know the guy's filed a lawsuit. How do you think this is going to play out? So let's get back to the story. Kenneth Falk, legal director of the ACLU in Indiana, filed the complaint stating May's gesture to Ames was expressive conduct fully protected by the First Amendment. While perhaps ill-advised, Mr. May's gesture, which in no way interfered with Master Trooper's lawful activities, was fully protected by the First Amendment. Further, he writes, the state trooper had no cause whatsoever to initiate the stop, and the stop represents an unconstitutional seizure in violation of the Fourth Amendment. So they challenged the ticket, were found not guilty. However, May sought a review of the matter, which vacated the conviction. May, who is self-employed as a carpenter, claims he missed 2 days of work because of this and this, so that's why he is suing. And his lawyer is saying this is protected speech. So then it also comes down to me, as far as I'm concerned, do I want to live in a country? Hi, Joseph. Hi, Jojo. Do I want to live in a country where we protect people's rights to provoke cops? So and I don't think I do. Listen, you know, I'm a huge fan of the First Amendment. But I don't think this is protected speech. Because that gesture is it's not, again, it's the difference between the thumbs down gesture and the thumbs down. Yeah, you get to do that. You get to show your displeasure. Boo, hiss, whatever. I don't like that you're pulling over motorists. You should let people speed. Boo. But this is meant to provoke. It is meant to say, I want it to register that other person. F you, you effing prick. All right? And that's two different things, and we can't have that. We can't have this guy getting away with that. I don't like that the ticket was already thrown out, and now he's going back to sue anyway because he's lost some time. So I guess since the ticket was thrown out, he's like, all right, well, screw you guys. You also cost me 2 days' work, so you're going to pay me for that as well. I don't like it. To each his own on that one, I guess. Next up. Let's see here. What do we got next? Hey, why are you skipping? Why are you skipping Uma? Maybe it is a sign. Oh no, those have been switched. That's why. There we go. This is deflating because here we go again. Another day, another story concerning sexual harassment, sexual assault, something. Yes, Uma Thurman is mad as we go to the New York Times. Well, you don't have to do the story, man. You don't have to do it. You're the one that I'm the one that pulled it up. Because I feel like even though this is wearing on me as it's wearing on a lot of other people, I feel like we have to stay in this uncomfortable place for a little while longer in order for some real positive, change to emerge. Yes, Uma Thurman is mad. Yes, she has been raped. She has been sexually assaulted. She has been mangled in hot steel. She has been betrayed and gaslighted by those she trusted. And we're not talking about her role as the blood-spattered bride in Kill Bill. We're talking about a world that is just as cutthroat, amoral, vindictive, and misogynistic as any Quentin Tarantino hellscape. We're talking about Hollywood. This is coming from the New York Times. Where even an average or avenging angel has a hard time getting respect, much less bloody satisfaction. Playing Foxy Mia Wallace in 1994's Pulp Fiction and ferocious Beatrix Kiddo in Kill Bill, Volumes 1 and 2. Thurman was the goddess in the creation myth of Harvey Weinstein and Quentin Tarantino. The Miramax Troika was the ultimate in indie cool. A spellbound Tarantino often described his otter muse. I don't even know what this relates. This is why I don't like reading the New York Times. There's 3 words in the last 3 sentences I don't even know. Thurman was the Lissome goddess. What the F is a Lissome? Lysum? Lusum? The Miramax Troika. What's a Troika? And the auteur muse. Can't it just be muse? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm so ignorant and that I'm not smart enough, well-read enough to understand the New York Times. Do the best I can. A spellbound Tarantino often described it with Thurman, who helped him conceive the idea of the Bloody Bride as an Alfred Hitchcock Ingrid Bergman legend, with a foot fetish thrown in. But beneath the glistening Oscar gold was a dark undercurrent that twisted the triangle. Pulp Fiction made Weinstein rich and respected, and Thurman says he introduced her to President Barack Obama at a fundraiser as the reason he had his house. He says he introduced her to President Barack Obama as the reason he had his house. Quote, the complicated feeling I have about Harvey Weinstein is how bad I feel about all the women that were attacked after I was, she told me one recent night, looking anguished in her elegant apartment in River House on Manhattan's East Side as she vaped tobacco, sipped white wine, and fed empty pizza boxes into the fireplace. Oh, that's an image. That's an image right there of old Uma Thurman. Quote, I was one of the reasons that young girls would walk into his room alone, the way I did. Quentin used Harvey as the executive producer of Kill Bill, a movie that symbolizes female empowerment, ironically. And all these lambs walked into slaughter because they were convinced nobody rises to such a position who would do something illegal to you, but they do. Thurman stresses that the creative artist agency for her former agency was connected to Weinstein's predatory behavior. It has since issued a public apology. Quote, I stand as both a person who was subjected to it and a person who was then also part of the cloud cover. So that's a super weird split to have, she says. Well, then, as far as, I don't know if you guys saw the headlines this morning, too, because not only is she talking more about Harvey Weinstein, which she had not talked about specifics beforehand, but she's also was talking about Quentin Tarantino, too. She was mad at him because I guess, and I can't remember which movie it was, Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill, one of those. There's a scene that she's driving a car, and the car that she was driving, I guess, was in horrendous condition. Not like bad condition, like it was going to fall apart and crash and blow up at any time condition. And she was not comfortable and kept saying over and over she didn't want to do it. And Quentin Tarantino kept forcing her to do it and says, if you don't get up to 40 miles an hour, then your hair's not going to blow the way I want. I'm going to make you do it again. So he forced her to do a physical stunt that she was not comfortable with. Okay, that's it. All right. We can separate those discussions, I'm thinking. Or maybe not. Maybe it's about people in power making you do things you don't want to do. Maybe it is the same discussion. Oh, time to go back to Joey? You better believe it. Hey, JoJo. Look at that adorableness. Hey, buddy. What do you think about this? All right, the next story that I have up for stuff you should know is a silly story. It's one that shouldn't get you worked up one way or another. I mean, you never know, but it shouldn't get you worked up one way or another. And where do you go? There we are. That is Shelby Mustang GT 500 Miller. That's his name. Hold on a second. Here we go. Arkansas cops arrest a man named Shelby Mustang GT 500 Miller. If you were to change your name to a vehicle, what vehicle would it be? The first one that popped in my head is I was thinking about, well, was my first vehicle, which was a 1971 Volkswagen Bug. I don't remember if it was a Beetle Bug or just a Bug. But then I thought, as soon as Beetle Bug popped in my head, I'm like, Beetle Bug Fisher. That's a good one right there. Beetle Bug Fisher. Shelby Mustang GT 500 Miller. And that's his name. That's not a pseudonym. Wait. Is that the word I was going after? Arkansas police today arrested Shelby Mustang GT 500 Miller for driving without a license and 2 separate vehicular charges. He's 29 years old. He was nabbed by a state trooper and booked on a $450 bond. In addition to the license count, Miller was cited for driving without a seatbelt and having no proof of, look at that guy. Is that what you have guessed his name to be? Shelby Mustang GT 500 Miller? And so the most curious thing about this story, of course, for me was going to be finding out whether or not this guy was named at birth or is this something that he got in front of a judge at some point in his adulthood and said, hey, Your Honor, man, I more identify with a Mustang, more specifically a Shelby 500 GT. So I'd like to change my name to Shelby Mustang 500 GT Miller. Hey, no problem, bud. Knock yourself out. Make sure you get a license. Make sure you get some insurance and wear your seatbelt. He didn't do those last things. So that brings me to my last item on my list today. Thank you so much for watching, being part of the Wake.Show, and chiming in, of course. And our last item today is an emerging topic, and some people say it's not an emerging topic. I guess I did have one more thing that kind of caught my eye, not just boy and girl. More teens are identifying as transgender. Story today coming out of Yahoo News. The study is an analysis of a 2016 statewide survey of 81,000 Minnesota teens. Nearly 2,200 of those identified as transgender or gender non-conforming. The study found that these kids reported worse mental and physical health than other kids, echoing results seen in previous research. Bullying and discrimination are among possible reasons for the differences. So anyway, a rise in the kids that are not feeling comfortable with their own gender, whatever they call that these days. And I'm sorry for being rude. I'm sorry for being insensitive to those who are having a very difficult time with that particular subject. It has everything to do with my ignorance, though, because I still don't get it. I still don't understand it. Is that cool, by the way? Is that okay? Is that okay just to admit, hey, listen, I'm ignorant when it comes to this, and I don't understand. Like, all right, so see, like this is what I'm wondering. So if let's say I'm like, listen, I've always wanted to wear dresses. I like putting on makeup. Cooking, cleaning. Just kidding. Those are jokes. Stop. I don't think that I would go, my God, I'm really a woman, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm trapped. I'm gonna go, no. In my head, I'd be like, no, I just, somewhere along the way, the people that were in control forced men to act a certain way and forced women to act and dress a certain way, that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't need to be. So it's not that I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. It's that and it's too bad that I don't have a producer. It's too bad that I don't have an audio, video, an editor that can pull this stuff out of context, because this would be a good one. I just like to wear dresses and put on makeup. Okay, so I wonder. This is where my ignorance comes in. Like I'm wondering if people who are having these issues, who feel the gender dysphoria, it's because they've gotten trapped into thinking that men or women have to be and act a certain way. And so if you don't feel like acting that way, then you're obviously not that gender. I don't know that. See, like I said, I don't get it. I've had multiple conversations with people who are transgender. I've read a lot. I mean, I guess I haven't gone to look at and just break down research study after research study after research study on this kind of stuff. But I do want, but please don't, take this as I am, I'm angry at, or people who are suffering from gender dysphoria don't deserve our attention right now. I just trying to get to the bottom of it, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. All right, so the last item on my list, the last item on my list today is this universal basic income. Been quite a bit of talk surrounding this subject recently. What's going on here? What's going on? Give me control of this subject. What the? Oh, never mind then. All right. So I guess all I need is this. All I need is this, and I can do the rest. There's a California city to experiment with universal basic income. Residents to get $500 a month, no questions asked. Now, where the hell exactly? Stockton is the name of the town. And I guess this is a town that had some issues. It was an agriculture town or something like that. And I don't know. So let's back up first. Universal basic income is something that a lot of people have been talking about. Elon Musk has been talking about this. What's his face? Facebook guy has been talking about this as well. And the concern is that with automation, the technology these days, automation, robotics, AI, that these things are going to come so fast that humanity is not going to be able to adjust quickly enough. And there's going to be a huge, there's going to be this period of people just freaking the F out. You're going to have to change jobs like that, change not just jobs, careers, industries. And they're saying that in very short order, those who have the AI technology, the ones that are inventing it, those who are the head of things when it comes to automation and robotics and this, which is a very, very small group of people, less than 1% of the world, they will soon become kings of everything. They will have they'll have everything, and the rest of the world will be scrambling to catch up. So universal income, which sounds very similar to communism, has been floated out there. To me, it doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Just because, it seems, I'm all about trying to help people, about doing whatever it is that we got to do. But, one of the first things that pops in my head when I see something like this are that, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And even though we might have good intentions, going, hey man, you got to give everybody at least $500 a week or whatever the hell this was, $500 a month or a week, and to help. Or the same thing with raising the minimum wage. To me, it doesn't seem to make sense, because if you do that, you're raising the minimum wage. Oh, that's going to help everybody, and everybody can have a living wage. Well, no, the people that are providing that living wage, their expenses, millions of companies' expenses just went up. There is going to be a downside to that. It's not as easy as just make the minimum wage $20 and everybody can be happy. So here's where I'm torn on this thing, because I'm all about, I do see the same thing right around the corner. I think there is going to be great turmoil. But you can call me out on this if you want. You can say I'm being insensitive if you want. But I wonder if that is the best course of action, to let this play out. Yes, there will be those winners and losers, like there is anytime there's major shifts, the beginning of the industrial age and, so on and so forth, the beginning of civilization. There is. But in a very short, like within a generation, it's not like it's going to become generation after generation. I think within a generation, there's going to be very quick adjustment. Cottage industries, industries and things that we never even thought of, or you haven't even thought of yet, that you'll be forced to think of once shit really starts to go south. And in the end, we'll look at it, it'll suck. Sorry, I was having a debate about this the other day at Masteries with Mike. One of the teams that comes out to a Masteries to play trivia every Thursday night. And I don't know if he's an ardent capitalist or not, but he does not buy that argument at all and feels like, we're just, you're getting worked up over nothing. Elon Musk is getting worked up over nothing. Mark Zuckerberg is getting worked up over nothing. That let capitalism play out the way it's supposed to play out. And this doom and gloom that you picture on the horizon will be, if it even happens at all, will be a very short, quick phase in the evolution of our species. Sorry. I know I'm starting to get out there when I start throwing in evolution of our species. So I am torn on the universal income and how much do we want to step in and help the tens of millions of people that are getting ready to lose everything over the next, in the next 10 to 20 years. Because there'll be those that, they can make that adjustment and find something else. There will be those that can't. They've done one thing their entire life. They don't know anything else, and they don't even know where to begin to look. And it's going to suck for a lot of people. So, but I guess, is that just nature? Is that just things playing out the way they're going to play out? No matter, we can sit here and have this talk too and go back and forth on whether or not, we should do something or not do something. But in the end, we're not going to have any control over it. I'm not personally, individually. You're not personally, individually. And maybe we just go, all right, well, listen, there's some, we're in some tumultuous times. Do the best you can. And then in the end, hopefully, I don't know. I guess for me, in the end, what I do is I go, if I start getting trapped into like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to humanity? And I go, oh, hold on. I can't change the world. Focus on you. And then in the end, I, believe in something bigger than me. And then I find calm and solace in that and go, all right, this is going to play out however it plays out. I have no control over it. And everything's going to be all right in the end. So, all right. Anything else before I get going? The memo stuff. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk? It's Monday. Can we put the memo stuff off maybe towards the end of the week, because the Democrats now say that they're going to come out with their own memos, release their own memos that are going to help put the Nunes or whatever the hell his name is memos into context, and then the GOP saying, yeah, well, we have more memos. And in the end, it just feels like this is all a distraction. But we'll get more into that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll get Jonny Torres on. Well, we'll get Jonny Torres or somebody like Jonny Torres on later in the week to talk a little bit more about the X's and O's of the right and the left. My favorite subject. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, and we'll do this again tomorrow.